And now Kutztown University Athletics and KUR present to you this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. This weekly radio program brings to you an in-depth look at the week in sports around campus, including game highlights, player and coach interviews, and an analysis of recent sporting events. Live on campus, let's send it to our host, Adam Dobrowolski.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final edition of the Golden Bear Beat before spring break. We'll have next week off and then be back on 2 weeks from now. So here for this edition, we'll be talking a lot about what's to come for the spring sports. Winter sports are all wrapped up except for one thing, and that is Kutztown University Wrestling. And we'll be hearing from the three participants in this weekend's NCAA championships. We'll hear also from head coach Rob Fisher. We'll get all that together and squared away to get you, the listeners, prepared for what you need to know in terms of the KU Bears in Cleveland, Ohio for this weekend in the Division II NCAA Wrestling Championships. But just to wrap things up here for the rest of the winter, last week we did wrap up the basketball seasons for both the men's and women's basketball seasons. After that, later on in the weekend, the men's basketball selections were chosen for all PSAC. Congratulations to Tracy Peel. He received all PSAC second team for his play at forward. But we now go from what's on the courts to what will be on the fields. A lot of baseball, a lot of softball happening during spring break. Tennis will be on some trips. And also at the lanes, bowling will be getting things geared away in terms of the national scene upcoming. They have the USBC sectionals this weekend, and then they'll be having the NEC championships the following weekend. So we'll be talking about all that stuff as it's a very busy time, spring break, for the athletes. And they get to get away, a lot of them do. They get to go to, whether it's Florida or North Carolina or South Carolina, get a chance to get some warmer weather. And I know out here in Kutztown, we were very much liking the weather the previous 2 days. Today, not so much. Hopefully this is the last time we have such cold weather, and by the time we're back here for the Golden Bear Beat in 2 weeks, we won't have to be worrying about any winter jackets. But let's get to the meat of the show here, as we have a lot of things to get to. We'll start things off with KU Wrestling, and as we mentioned last time out, 3 Golden Bears making it to national championships. Evan Yanilevich, Bo Candelaria, Ziad Haddad will be wrestling tomorrow and Saturday in the 2014 Wrestling Championships at the Division II level. And it's a good chance here for the Golden Bears to see guys compete for national championships. Evan Yanilevich ranked 7th by the final polls at 133 nationally. He's 12-1 this season. Bo Candelaria began the season at 174. Then in the National Wrestling Coaches Association National Duels out in Des Moines, Iowa, Candelaria mixed his wrestling between 174 and 165, won both of his 165 matches, and since then, on the PSAC conference play and then the Super Region 1 championships, he's been wrestling at 165, and he's 11-1, and Ziad Haddad at heavyweight, undefeated this season, 21-0. You look at it, between those 3 wrestlers, a combined record of 44-2, and the 2 losses for Yanilevich, it was against a Division I wrestler, Nick Tighe of Binghamton University, and then Candelaria's loss to the number 1 wrestler in Division II, Eric Berge of Notre Dame of Ohio, who won the 165 weight class at the Super Region 1 championships, but it was only a 3-2 decision. So looking at it, there is a chance, a legitimate chance, the Golden Bears have 3 wrestlers who become national champions. Before we hear from the wrestlers, let's hear from the head coach of the KU wrestling team, Rob Fisher. Late last week, I talked to him before they had to prepare themselves this week to make the trip out to Cleveland, and we talked about not just the performance at the Super Region 1 championships, but obviously what's to come ahead in Cleveland. Here's the interview. First and foremost, congratulations to the job you and the coaching staff done to get the team to this point. Just your thoughts on not just the 3 guys who made it to nationals, but obviously you had 6, go undefeated into the semis. A lot of close losses for the guys who were eliminated, but the competition was there in terms of the guys competing. Just your thoughts overall on how the team performed in the regionals.
Yeah, it's always bittersweet when it's the last event of the year and it's you win or you go home. And we had a couple seniors who didn't quite get it done, so it was very bitter for them, Giovanni and Mitchell Volker. We had another guy that got injured early on, Brandon Clark. But, on to the positives. The guys that did qualify were just tremendous job for the team and the program and did us proud.
I know for Bo in particular, with the third place match, he goes up against a guy that he faced at 174 that he lost to earlier in the year, able to get some timely escapes for the win to get to nationals. What is it like for a guy like him making his first national trip?
I'm really happy for Bo because Bo came in as a freshman several years ago with a lot of promise, and it just didn't quite put it together. But he worked through it and persevered through some down times, and just had a tremendous second half of the year this year. Once he got to 165, he's been undefeated, except you lost to the national champ from a year ago from Notre Dame College. But it was a great win and a great accomplishment, and he's not over. He wants to be an All-American. Now,
obviously, that match was close, a 3-2 victory for the Notre Dame wrestler. I believe that was Berge, and he's, as you mentioned, the defending national champion in his weight class, #1 this year. To be able to get that match and have that experience, how's that going to help him out? Not just to have confidence if he faces him again in particular, but some of the other guys that may be expected to beat Bo, where Bo can say, hey, I can compete with anyone.
You're exactly right, and we've talked about that, and he has an unbelievable amount of confidence right now. Not only beating a guy that beat him pretty badly from Johnstown early in the year, he beat him to go for third and fourth, but losing such a heartbreakingly close match to the defending champion, just his confidence is soaring right now.
Obviously, Evan and Z both dominated. What is it like for those guys? They're making their trips back. Evan his third time, Z his second time. What is the confidence level and just overall kind of the cool, calm collectiveness it seems from these guys that they know what they're doing? How's that going to help them out?
Well, it is to an extent. They're definitely cool. They're definitely confident, but they want a national title. I mean, Ziad has said from the beginning, and we said it as well, we'll settle for nothing less. I mean, you may have to because it's sports, but he's on a mission. And so is Evan. Evan is wrestling as well as anybody in the country at 133 pounds. And, hey, stranger things had happened. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 Golden Bears in the finals. More than that, maybe 3.
Now, what is it like for you and the coaching staff to make sure that these guys day-to-day are kind of on their level?
Yeah, we're not trying to really work on anything new. We're just trying to maintain their weights, maintain their conditioning, maintain their skill level. So at this point, it's short workouts, kind of get in, get it done, and get out. It's been a long, grueling year, and they're all healthy, and we want to keep it that way, and we just don't want to have any regressions.
Coach, one more question. What do you think individually for these 3 guys are going to be the keys for their success on the mat?
Well, it's going to come down to mental. Can they handle the pressure? Because physically, all 3 are primed for a huge amount of success next weekend. But can you handle the big lights and the big pressure mentally, and that's going to be the difference.
Thank you again, Coach, and best of luck.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
Again, that's head coach Rob Fisher as he kind of gives us a little bit of the backdrop of what's to come for these guys. But obviously we wanted to hear from the wrestlers themselves. They've done a fantastic job this season, especially in the postseason with the Super Region 1 championship, so we want to hear from those guys. Beginning things off with Evan Yanilevich. He's going to be making his 3rd trip to the national tournament. His first time he was at the Nationals, he was with Edinburgh and did so in 2012. He finished 4th at Nationals and was named an All-American. And you'll hear from Yanilevich, he actually lost his first match, but he was able to come back and make a nice run to finish 4th in the Nationals while he was at Edinburgh. After transferring to Kutztown, he made it back to the Nationals as he was the I think I'm actually getting this wrong here, but he was actually PSAC champ at Edinburgh at 125. First year at Kutztown at 133. He finished 4th at Nationals and was named an All-American. And then back last year, he was at 141. He went 1-2 at Nationals. So this will be his 3rd trip. They're actually all at Kutztown. I stand corrected on that as I was looking at my notes incorrectly. But a 2-time Super Region 1 champion at 133, both at Kutztown in 2012 and 2014. So Yanilevich giving himself some history, one of 2 guys in Kutztown history to win a pair of regionals. And he will look to be perhaps in the running for a national title. There's been 2 national titles for the program. Joe Kemmerer had top honors in 2007 and 2009. Those were at 133. So is this perhaps a little bit of a fortunate weight class for the Golden Bears? We will see. The toughest wrestler Yanilevich has faced so far this season, Marty Carlson of Notre Dame College. He defeated him 9-0 to secure the Super Region 1 championship. He is one guy that certainly will be in the bracket. Being number 2, he would move on to nationals. Yanilevich, as mentioned earlier, number 7 in terms of the final regular season rankings as chosen by the coaches. There's not a seeded bracket of 16 guys throughout the regions, but as you look at it, a nicely distributed bracket that sees each of the top 8 ranked wrestlers nationally in different matches in the first round. Yanilevich will face Zach Hale of Anderson College in South Carolina, who is 21-6 this season. If he wins, he'll face the winner of Josh Kiefer of Indianapolis, who's 15-5, and 4th-ranked Casey Rowell of Central Oklahoma, 34-5. Of note, the top-ranked wrestler at 133 is from Nebraska, Kearney, Daniel DeShazer. He's 14-1 this season. He's on the opposite side of Yanilevich, and the number 2 ranked wrestler, Michael Labrie, also on the other side. The highest ranked wrestler at the top half, Nathan Rodriguez of Ouachita Baptist, who is 3rd. So we'll see how Yanilevich will fare at 133. But let's hear from the wrestler himself. Here is Evan Yanilevich. Evan, first and foremost, congratulations, winning the 133 in Super Region 1. Just your thoughts on going back to Nationals.
It's my 3rd time there, so I have a little bit of experience. I got to take them one match at a time. I've never won my first round out there, so, anything could happen. I was a regional champ 2 years ago, and I got caught and pinned my very first match, and I was winning, So you just got to take them one at a time.
What has it been like for you this year in terms of trying to fight off injury and making weight to be able to get on that mat and just really dominate this past weekend?
It's been real tough, I had a surgery 2 months ago, and then, with the weight cut down from 141 back down to 133 this year, it's a lot tougher, but now that's the end of the season, I'm starting to get my weight under control. Well, I pretty much do. It's a lot better, and the competition's still there, but I think that me going down in weight was a smart move in my decision.
What has it been like, just in particular, since Sunday to kind of just keep yourself eating-wise, training-wise, just on that level in terms of weight?
Just a lot of motivation, thinking about it myself. Like, I put, since I was 5 years old, 18 years into the sport, everything, and now it's all coming down. Just one more week. That's all I have. I'm not going to wrestle after this. This is it. So I got to mentally prepare myself that this is the last I could be competing, and then I have to do and perform as best as I can.
Maybe for you and for Z, it's been something that you guys have already prepared for, but for Bo, it being his first time, what are some of the things that you guys told him so far of how to kind of prepare himself mentally for nationals?
We just talking about the level of competitions, great up there, and it's never the best person in the tournament. It's always, it's the best person that weekend. Now, someone always told me, it's anybody's shot. It's the national tournament. The 16th ranked kid out at nationals can be the number 1 that weekend. It's just how hard you put and work, all coming down to one weekend.
Personally, what's going to be your key for success in the mat?
I don't know. I guess I just keep my mental focus is one thing. It's a big mental preparation for wrestling. If you don't think you can win, how can anybody else think you're going to win? So you have to go out there with the aspect that you're not going to lose, Even if you do, you can't go out there with that. It could be the number 1 kid in the country. You got to be able to go out there and think, I can beat this kid right now. And keeping a positive attitude is just the best way to go about it. But you can't overlook people. Just because this kid got 5th at regionals and I won regionals doesn't mean I'm going to beat him. It's anybody's game.
Well, best of luck, Evan, and obviously a chance here to make some history, so best of luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Again, that's Evan Yanilevich, and a very good chance for Yanilevich due to experience and his record this season for him to compete for a national championship or at least an All-American spot. You have to finish in the top 4, and again, Yanilevich did it as an All-American a few years ago, and he is the only current Golden Bear to place at the national championships. Did so his sophomore season and did so at Kutztown, finishing 4th. So we'll see if he can do it again this season and maybe even compete for a national championship. Next up at 165, we have Bo Candelaria. And Candelaria's had an interesting year. Candelaria, in his 3rd season with the Golden Bears, began the year at 174. And overall, his 174 record is 4-7. But at 165, he did a pair of matches at the national duels, one against St. Cloud State, against Gabe Fogarty, who at the time was a ranked wrestler nationally. He defeated him 7-4. St. Cloud State 6th in Division II. Then against Lake Erie, who's 20th ranked in Division II, he faced Tyler Testney, who at the time was a ranked wrestler, won that match by a 6-4 decision. And since then, Candelaria's been at 165, and he has only lost one match, and that was to Eric Berge, the number 1 wrestler at 165 in a 3-2 decision loss in the Super Region 1 Championships. That knocked Candelaria to the consolation side, and in the consolation finals, he needed to win to make it into Cleveland, and he defeated Gary Lance, a wrestler he lost to at 174, 9-1. He won 3-2 to advance to Cleveland. So Candelaria 11-1 at 165, not ranked, and when you look at his bracket, his first match will be against a ranked wrestler, and that will be the 4th-ranked wrestler, Nick Hafferkamp of McKendree, who's 26-13. And if Candelaria wins, he will face the winner of 2 ranked wrestlers, Mark Mabry, 5th-ranked from Adams State, and Brock Smith, 8th-ranked from Nebraska Kearney. Also in the bottom half, where Candelaria is at, there's Chris Watson of Central Oklahoma, the 2nd-ranked wrestler. Number 1 on the opposite side, Eric Berge. So if Candelaria is to have a rematch with Berge on the winner's side, it will be for a national championship. Although Candelaria not ranked, he has a legitimate chance to make it all the way to the national championship final match. So nonetheless, here's the interview with Bo Candelaria. First and foremost, Bo, congratulations getting to nationals. Your thoughts on your first trip?
Very excited to make my first trip up to nationals. A little nerves all week, but mostly excitement, mostly ready to get my name out there, get this program out there more, and make a name for myself.
Now, you're going with Evan and Z. Both of those guys have been to the nationals before. There's obviously Gio and Mitch, guys who have been there before, who unfortunately they lost some close matches, can't wrestle in this trip here to the nationals this year. But there's experience obviously on not just the staff but the roster of guys who have been there. What are some of the things you picked up from them on how to prepare yourself?
Just keeping your composure, keeping everything together, making sure your routine is still the same, making sure that you go through the same workouts, the same steps, not missing a beat, just keeping everything off your mind from going out there and making it your first step. It's just another tournament, another match. That's all they keep saying to me.
Now, it looks like you've really hit your strides when you switch back to 165 this year, 11-1, and your lone loss was to the number 1 guy, and you lost 3-2. So you can put the argument together that you can wrestle and beat anyone in this weight class. How has it really come together for you?
I just think being down at 165, my natural wrestling weight, my strength is together, my speed is together. I'm able to heal my body, and my body is now strong at this weight. I'm no longer dealing with guys who are bigger and taller than me or stronger than me. I'm just very comfortable down here, making it easier for me to move, making it easier for me to hit shots. Everything's just coming really together now.
What are some of the things just on the mat that you learned in the match to the Notre Dame wrestler? Because he won at his weight class last year, ranked number 1 this year. He's obviously the guy you're going to be, one of the guys you'll be gunning for to get at least All-American status, if not a national championship. What are just some of the things you learned on the mat, though?
Aggressiveness. He's very aggressive. He's very fast. So I know that I can stick with him right there. I'm very aggressive myself. It's a battle when I wrestled him last time. It's going to be a battle when I wrestle him again next time in the finals. I see myself making the finals every day, and I see myself getting another shot at him. So just staying aggressive, staying focused, and keeping with my shots. It was only one takedown away, and I feel like I can hit it next time.
Now, to get to nationals, you had to face someone who beat you earlier in the year at 174. What was the difference from the 174 match at Pitt Johnstown to obviously wrestling at Pitt Johnstown again, but here in Super Regionals? What was the difference from 174 now to 165?
A lot is just built around confidence. My teammates, my coaches, they stepped up my workout this second half of the year. Back when I wrestled him at University of Pittsburgh Johnstown in November, I wasn't focused right. I was losing a lot. I was wrestling at 174, and now that I was at 165, I just felt unbeatable. I felt stronger, a different wrestler, more confidence right behind.
Anything that we haven't mentioned yet do you feel is going to be the key for you on the mat, or is it just going to be about confidence and just being in good shape and making the right timing with your aggressiveness?
Everything's going to come together. Everything's going to be fine. We were watching some film, making sure that who I'm wrestling, I know everything. I'm going to do everything is game planned around my offense, and I feel very confident going into nationals, feeling very strong.
Well, best of luck, Bo, and obviously we're looking forward to a good tournament in this upcoming weekend.
Oh, thank you.
Now, for Candelaria, it is his first time at Nationals, so he's a bit of a wild card. It'll be his first time seeing such high-quality wrestlers match after match after match, but again, his only loss was by 1 point to the top-ranked wrestler in Division II at his weight class, so we'll see what Candelaria can do as kind of a dark horse, so to say. He has the ability to go win a national championship. We'll see how it pans out for him this weekend. We're going to step off to break here on the Golden Bear Beat, but when we return on KUR, we'll hear from the number 1 heavyweight wrestler in Division II, Ziad Haddad. This is his third time at Nationals. We'll hear from him and talk about his prospects in the Division II Wrestling Championships. That is coming up when we return on KUR. Stay tuned. Back here on the Golden Bear Beat, Adam Dobrovolsky in the KUR studios as we continue a preview of the Division II Wrestling National Championships as it applies to the Kutztown Golden Bears. Kutztown has 3 wrestlers making it to Nationals this season. We already heard from Evan Yanilevich from 133, Bo Candelaria from 165, but now let's hear from the heavyweight champion in Super Region 1, Ziad Haddad. This is his third time at Nationals. First time for Haddad was at the University of North Carolina in 2010. He finished second at the ACC Championship that year as a freshman, made it to the national championships. Now here at Kutztown, it's his second year at Kutztown as a junior. He is now 2 times made it to nationals at Kutztown. Last year he was the PSAC runner-up, was also the Super Region 1 runner-up at the heavyweight 285. And then made himself finish 4th in nationals as an All-American last year in 2013. This year he did not compete at the PSAC Championships due to injury, but won Super Region 1 and was a champion this year and is undefeated at 21-0. And I believe he is still yet to be taken down this season. So a very good prospects for him. He's nationally ranked number 1 by the coaches, and he has seen some of the wrestlers that are in this bracket coming up at 285 and actually could find himself in a rematch in the quarterfinal round with someone he faced at the national duels. In fact, a wrestler from the 4th-ranked team in the nation, the University of Indianapolis, Evan Wooding, 7th-ranked in the nation. If he wins his match, his first-round match, and Ziad Haddad wins his, Those two will face off in the quarterfinals. The first-round match for Haddad is against Cole Wilson of Southwest Minnesota State. He is 25-10 on the season. Of note, Steve Butler is second-ranked in Division II. He's from Lindenwood. He is 16-1. He could face Haddad in the semifinals. The top-ranked wrestler in the bottom half is Austin Jorgen of St. Cloud State, who is third-ranked in the nation and is 32-5. Although Kutztown did face St. Cloud State in the NWCA duels, Haddad did not wrestle against St. Cloud State, and Jorgen actually did not face Kutztown wrestler Daniel Ortiz. Daniel Ortiz faced a different heavyweight wrestler. So those are just some things of note, but now let's hear from the man himself, the number one wrestler in Division II, Ziad Haddad.
First and foremost, Z, congratulations. This is going to be your third trip up to Nationals, the second at the Division II level. Just your thoughts on how this last tournament out in Super Region 1 went out in Pitt Johnstown.
It was a great tournament for our team. We qualified 3 guys, had a bunch in contention, and first and foremost, that's first. The team aspect. You feed off each other. And, you help each other through certain situations. It's disappointing to see some guys end their seasons and their careers. But, you know that those people are behind you. And, I was excited to earn another trip to Nationals because the region is just exactly what it is. It's a qualifier. Whether you win, take second, take third, you just need to get to the dance. So that's pretty much it.
And for you, what experiences have you drawn from your first 2 trips to Nationals? Obviously, last year you were with Kutztown, made it to the Nationals, finished in 4th place. What can you build upon those experiences?
Well, anytime you get to do something a second time or a third time, you hope to draw things from it. You hope to learn, you learn from your experience. I know that. The one thing that hasn't changed between all 3 times I've been at or the 2 times before and this one coming up is you got to take it one match at a time. You can't look ahead. You can't peek through the bracket. You just look at who you got first and try to do the things that got you there and concentrate on that one and move one match at a time.
Now, I know mentally you can't focus on future matches, but looking at the bracket, there are some guys that you may have familiarity with. Obviously, there's 2 other guys from Region 1 who you can potentially face, and also a potential quarterfinal round with the UIndy wrestler you faced at the national duels. I believe Evan Wooding is his name. Just knowing that there's some guys that you've seen before, how might that help you just to get the preparation of perhaps any film that you may see preparing for potential opponents?
Well, you have to prepare for each match. I'm a big believer in that. I don't like to go in any match just blindly and think that you're just superior than somebody else. That kind of attitude will get you in trouble. I'm a big believer in preparing for each individual match and finding what I can on anybody that I wrestle. But ultimately, you still got to do your thing. You can't wrestle to their capabilities. You got to wrestle to yours. And being familiar with guys is great. Having wrestled them before is great, but you got to remember it's also great for them too. They got to feel for you. You got to feel for them. So it works on both sides. It's not just a one-sided affair. So you got to come out and do what got you there.
Now, I know the answer I got from Bo and Yeno as well as Coach Fisher, but I feel inclined to ask, has anything at all changed in terms of mental preparation coming into this tournament as opposed to anything else, or is it just approached as another weekend where you have to get the W's?
Yep, nothing really has changed. We've tweaked a couple of training things here and there, but overall nothing has changed. This is the best time of the year. This is the most exciting time of the year. So as far as mentally goes, the only thing that really has changed is I've gotten, really excited to go out and compete this weekend. it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for our university, our program. We got 3 quality guys that have a shot to not only be All-Americans but national champions, and that's the goal. You have to chase down a national championship. You can't be satisfied being an All-American. You can't be satisfied qualifying. You got to go out and make it happen. Other than that, nothing has changed. You're just being really excited to go out and, like the other 15 guys in my weight class, chase down your dream, because I'm sure it's their dream too, that it's been mine for the last, 10 years or so. So, whichever guy comes out, wrestles his best, puts his best foot forward, is the guy that comes out on top. And, I hope that I did what I needed to do so that can be me.
Well, best of luck, Z, and obviously it's going to be an exciting time, not just for you, not just for Bo, not just for Yeno, but everyone who's been following Kutztown Wrestling this season. So best of luck in Cleveland.
Thank you very much, and we're very excited about it, and we're thankful for everybody that has been in support, has been following, everybody through, not just our coaching staff and not just our alumni supporters, but the equipment staff, the training staff, the administration, the athletic administration, and everybody involved has been behind us, has supported us. And when you go out to compete at this, this kind of event, you're not just competing for yourself. You're wearing your school colors, and you're carrying everybody with you. So, I'm looking forward to it, and we all are.
Again, that is Ziad Haddad, the number 1 wrestler in the heavyweight class in Division II. And certainly the expectation, as you hear from him, to win a national championship. And really the expectation for all 3 wrestlers. That's what you want to see. You want to see the confidence from these guys. They all express that. You want to have the mentality that you can defeat anyone on the opposite side of the mat. And with it being arguably the top 16 wrestlers at each weight class in Division II, that should be the mentality for every wrestler going forward. You can log on to KUBears.com tomorrow and Saturday to find out how you can follow these live results for the Division II National Championships. And certainly that is something that we will be updating as well on social media. You can follow the Golden Bears at KU Golden Bears for Kutztown Athletics. Also, you can follow KU Wrestling at KU_wrestling to get live updates on what's going on this weekend. Now we move on, though, to Kutztown Bowling, as they have an important few weekends coming up here as they wrap up their season as well. This is a sport that goes through the winter, but it begins in the fall, so I guess you can technically call this a fall splash spring sport. So their season will be wrapping up shortly, but they still have some important things to get to all the way up until April. But this past weekend, a very, very important tournament that they were in Tennessee, hosted by Vanderbilt University, was the Music City Classic. And Kutztown saw, I believe, 18 of the top 20 teams compete at this meet. And Kutztown saw themselves face a lot of those ranked teams. It was a competition between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday was not kind to the Golden Bears. Saturday and Sunday fared much better for Kutztown. Friday, Kutztown lost all 5 of its matches, including 3 of the top 8 teams. Central Missouri, who was 5th ranked in the nation, Stephen F. Austin, who was 6th ranked, and Vanderbilt, who was 8th ranked. But Kutztown also lost to Tulane and Prairie View A&M. On Saturday, Kutztown lost to Alabama State by just 12 pins. They were 19th ranked in the nation, but Kutztown would then defeat the top 2 teams in Division II. Nebraska, 2nd ranked. Kutztown would win 974-933, and then later on in the day, Kutztown would defeat Arkansas State 1055 to 1010. Kutztown had, I believe, 3 matches in which they got over 1,000 pins on the day. They also defeated Sam Houston State, 7th ranked in the nation, 994-914. And then on Sunday, Kutztown won 2 of 3, splitting 2 against Sacred Heart, an NEC team that was 12th ranked in the nation, and then defeating North Carolina A&T 17th ranked in the nation. Overall, Kutztown would finish 11th in the tournament and again won 7 of their final 8. So Kutztown moving up 10 spots from their Friday placing. Very big for the Golden Bears to do that, finishing 7-7 overall with 10,029 pins. This is a very important meet to see where Kutztown stands in terms of selections to the NCAA championships. Kutztown, though, will try to get into the USBC championships. That's the United States Bowling Congress. The sectionals will take place this weekend in Allentown. You can log on to KUBears.com. I believe we'll have a preview coming up either today or tomorrow to get you more information about that. But you have this singles event coming up Friday, and then the team events Saturday and Sunday. And if Kutztown gets a good enough placing, they will go to the USBC National Championships from April 14th to the 19th. The place is yet to be determined. Last year it was in Omaha, Nebraska. The following weekend, March 22nd and 23rd, to wrap up spring break, Kutztown will be in Altoona, Pennsylvania for the NEC Championships. Kutztown, the third seed of 6 teams. Kutztown, if they finish well enough in the NEC or even win the championships, they could cinch themselves a spot at the NCAA National Championships. So an important next 2 weekends coming up for the KU bowling team. And again, for more information on their weekend events coming up this week and next week, you can log on to KUBears.com and go to the bowling tab to get more information about that and just see the schedule. They have yet to announce the matches and the teams Kutztown will face, but that information will be coming out shortly. Okay, we're going to step off to another break. When we come back, we will look ahead more to spring break. Baseball, softball, tennis, both men's and women's side, track and field, men's and women's side, and lacrosse. All will be taking their show on the road for springtime. We'll talk about all that stuff and more when we return right here on KUR. Stay tuned. Back here on the Golden Bear Beat, Adam Duravosky here in the KUR studio as we look ahead to what's to come for spring break. Hopefully everyone will enjoy a fun time here over the next week, safe time, responsible time, and for the Kutztown athletes, they will be mixing in some work on the field with a chance to go away and have some fun time. Getting some good sun, I guess, hopefully, in warm weather. Let's start things off with baseball as they will be having their weekend in Virginia and North Carolina as Kutztown was originally scheduled to have a game against Dominican College tomorrow in Pomona, New Jersey at Provident Bank Park and then play Saturday at North Campus Field. Kutztown will not have its home opener this weekend. Those 2 games are postponed. Not sure if they'll be made up. So Kutztown will spend this weekend against the College of St. Rose in Sutherland, Virginia. There'll be 2 games on Saturday and then 1 on Sunday. Kutztown will then continue to travel south. They'll go to North Carolina, play Barton College Tuesday. That's at Wilson, North Carolina. And then Wednesday, they'll be in Winston-Salem to face Winston-Salem State, and they'll be playing at the beautiful BB&T Ballpark, the home of the Low-A Winston-Salem Dash, a minor league affiliate of the Chicago White Sox, in a very unique field out in right field, a low wall that can be very tricky, but I'm digressing there, talking a little bit about the dynamics there for Kutztown. Winston-Salem State, the team that won the CIAA last year and made it to the NCAA regionals in the Atlantic region. So that's a very tough team for Kutztown. And then on Thursday, Kutztown will have another doubleheader. That'll be in Petersburg, Virginia against Virginia State. And that right now, currently the top-ranked team from the CIAA in terms of the regional ranks as made by the coaches. Kutztown right now ranked 5th in the Atlantic region by the coaches, and I believe Virginia State is now up to 10th. So that will be an important doubleheader, as will the one against Winston-Salem State. Spartan will also be an important one just because it's a regional game for Kutztown. Those 5 very much could determine where Kutztown stands in terms of seeding moving forward if they make it into the NCAA regionals. When they come back, they will have a home-and-home doubleheader Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd against Westchester. Remember, that was the team last year that defeated Kutztown 4 of 5 times, including 1 in the PSAC championship. The Golden Rams very much were the team that knocked Kutztown out of postseason standing, so Kutztown will look for its revenge against the Golden Rams, and we will have doubleheader coverage of the 2 games at North Campus Field Saturday the 22nd, beginning at 1 p.m. on the Golden Bear Network. You can log on to KUBears.com on how to get more information for that. Meanwhile, you have for Kutztown softball a spring break trip to Salem, Virginia and Claremont, Florida. Kutztown will be at the Salem Invitational beginning tomorrow at 5 p.m. against West Virginia Wesleyan, a top 25 team, and a team that just defeated Shippensburg, the highest ranked team in the PSAC East right now. So that'll be a tough one for Kutztown. Then Kutztown will face West Virginia State, a team they defeated in the NCAA Atlantic Regionals last year. That's at 5 and at 7 p.m. Then Saturday, Kutztown will have Charleston, West Virginia at 11 a.m., Fairmont State at 1 p.m. Sunday, they will face Shepherd University at 9 a.m. All those will be at Salem, Virginia at the James I. Moyer Complex, where Kutztown played in the Division II National Championship game last year. In all 5 of these games against Mountain East teams that is in the region, so very important games for the Golden Bears. All of those games can be heard on the Golden Bear Network. That's right, I'm making the trip out to Florida and Virginia with the team to get you some games to listen to during spring break. Next up for Kutztown, they'll be at the NTC College Spring Games Tuesday against Malloy College, a team that made it to the Division II National Championships, the quote-unquote World Series. They did not face Kutztown last year, but Kutztown will see them Tuesday at 9 a.m. on the Golden Bear Network from Claremont, Florida. Then after that, you'll have Minnow State Tuesday at 11 a.m. Kutztown will be off Wednesday. Then Thursday, they will face Illinois Springfield at 4 p.m. and St. Michael's 6 p.m. So these are out-of-region games for Kutztown, but they will nonetheless be looking to get in a rhythm. 3-6 right now this season. And then Tuesday, March 25th, we'll have doubleheader coverage from North Campus Field against Westchester, a team Kutztown saw a bunch of times last year in the postseason. They won a match in the PSAC Championships and then won 2 in the NCAA Atlantic Super Regionals. So the Golden Bears will look to build upon what they did last year, but the Golden Rams will be looking for some revenge. So those will be 2 things to look for in terms of what we'll be broadcasting. Again, baseball, our broadcast will have 2 games against Westchester, Saturday, March 22nd at 1 p.m., and then softball will have a bunch of broadcasts. We'll have the Salem Invitational Friday through Sunday. Friday coverage begins 5 p.m., Saturday 11 a.m., Sunday 9 a.m., and then Tuesday and Thursday from Florida at the NTC College Spring Games. Tuesday coverage begins 9 a.m., Thursday coverage begins 4 p.m. before Tuesday, March 25th, a doubleheader against Westchester beginning at 2:30 p.m. Our only other broadcast coming up over the next 2 weeks will involve lacrosse. Now, Kutztown has yet to have a game, as they originally were supposed to face Georgian Court last Wednesday. That was postponed to this Saturday, which will be in Lakewood, New Jersey at noon. Then they were supposed to play yesterday against Holy Family. That was postponed. A makeup date is to be determined. Kutztown's first game hopefully will be tomorrow, and it should be clear to go because they'll be playing at University Field. And University Field has been cleared actually for teams to practice baseball, lacrosse, and softball. That'll be Friday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can follow the live stats at KUBears.com or make it out to the field to cheer on the Golden Bears for their season opener. But after they play Philadelphia Friday and Georgian Court Saturday, they will head down to Georgia for a game Tuesday at Young Harris, and then to South Carolina Wednesday to face Coker before they head back to begin conference play next Saturday at East Stroudsburg. And then they will be playing Westchester next Tuesday. Actually, our first broadcast will be in 3 weeks, Friday, March 28th, against Edinboro on the Golden Bear Network. We'll have more of that information coming up. But to look ahead here, we also have tennis and track and field. We'll be getting some of their sports resuming this upcoming spring break to get back into action. Men's tennis did resume its season in the spring, defeating Edinboro and Mercyhurst to begin March, but they will continue their play. They'll be heading to Hilton Head, South Carolina with the women's team. The men's team will face St. Mary's College Sunday, and then on Monday they'll face McDaniel College. Wednesday they'll face Illinois Springfield. Thursday they'll play Asbury, and Friday they'll play Pikeville. So they have one match each day and have an off day on Tuesday. All 5 matches again in Hilton Head, South Carolina. They will not resume PSAC play until Friday, March 28th, and we'll have more about that on the next edition of the Golden Bear Beat. As for the women, they'll have 4 matches, and they'll play Sunday and Monday, and then Wednesday and Thursday. Sunday, they'll face St. Mary's. Monday, McDaniel. Wednesday, Illinois Springfield. It'll be a back and forth thing with the men and women playing coinciding times. Sunday at 11 a.m., Monday at 2:30, Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Thursday, though, the women will face Goucher College at 8 a.m., and they will wrap up their play at Hilton Head. They have to have one fewer, I believe, because of more PSAC teams to play. And at Keystone Courts, Tuesday, March 25th, Kutztown will host Shippensburg in a PSAC East match. So make it out to the courts again Tuesday after spring break at 2 p.m. Then you have for men's track and field coming up for spring break. They will be beginning their outdoor season. The indoor season wrapped up. Kutztown did not have any teams at the NCAA Indoor Championships, but Kutztown will be down in a combination of North Carolina and South Carolina during spring break. That'll be Thursday, March 20th to Saturday, March 22nd. There'll be 2 meets going on for the people competing in the multis. They will be at the 49er Classic on the campus of UNC Charlotte. Obviously, that's in Charlotte, North Carolina. For the rest, they'll be at the Shamrock Invitational at Coastal Carolina University, which is near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, officially the town Conway, South Carolina. So the teams will be splitting up, but they'll be in North Carolina and South Carolina during spring break. So a lot of exciting things coming on here for the Golden Bears as they will have a busy spring break coming up here for the upcoming weeks. But again, we'll kind of recap things here, go day by day, what's to come up here for spring break before we have our next edition of the Golden Bear Beat coming up in 2 weeks. And obviously, in that time, we will be previewing bowling, heading possibly to more postseason play, but also we'll be getting in the swing of things for baseball, softball, and tennis. Baseball, they're 4-1. Softball, 3-6. Men's tennis has won both of their PSAC matches, 2-0 in the spring thus far. Women's tennis and lacrosse yet to play this spring. But to recap, beginning tomorrow, you have the NCAA National Championships in wrestling. You can follow the live results on KUBears.com. Meanwhile, bowling will begin its USBC Nationals. It'll be a singles event at 3:30 p.m. Log on to KUBears.com. We can give you directions if you want to root on the Golden Bears in Allentown. Meanwhile, lacrosse will have its season opener against Philadelphia at 4 p.m. Check it out at University Field. Softball will begin its play at the Salem Invitational beginning at 5 p.m. against West Virginia Wesleyan. It'll follow after that against West Virginia State. That'll be on the Golden Bear Network. You can log on to KUBears.com to listen in. So very fun Friday for those of you who want to follow KU Athletics. On Saturday, we'll have more of the same. Wrestling will be in its second day of the National Championships. Live results again will be on KUBears.com. You can follow again on Twitter at KU Golden Bears and at KU_Wrestling. Bowling, meanwhile, will begin at 8:30 in Allentown for the team events for the USBC sectionals. So make sure to check that out. Lacrosse will be on the road. Baseball will be on the road in Virginia for 2 games against St. Rose. Softball will have 2 games in the Salem Invitational beginning at 11 a.m. on the Golden Bear Network. Sunday, bowling wraps up its USB sectionals. Softball will play against Shepherd 9 a.m. on the Golden Bear Network. Men's and women's tennis will begin its spring break in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and baseball will have one more game in St. Rose. And then during the week, tennis will continue. Softball will have 2 games Tuesday on the Golden Bear Network at 9 a.m. Lacrosse will be in action Tuesday for a game. Baseball will be in action Tuesday for a game. Wednesday, you have tennis resuming its action after an off day on Tuesday. Baseball will have a doubleheader against Winston-Salem State. Lacrosse will have a game. We'll be back on the air Thursday for Golden Bear Network action. Softball beginning at 4 as they wrap up their play in Florida. Then you have track and field go from Tuesday through Saturday. Tennis will wrap its stuff up for the women's side. Friday, they'll wrap their stuff up for the men's side. And then Saturday, again, March 22nd, doubleheader action for baseball against Westchester, 1 p.m. on the Golden Bear Network. Baseball will go on the road Sunday the 23rd, while bowling on Saturday and Sunday will be at the NEC Championships. That does it for this edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Everyone, make sure to enjoy your spring break. I know that there's a lot of exciting things, people wanting to get together with friends and family, get away, maybe a little bit warmer place. A lot of the sports teams will be doing that, and your central hub to follow everything going on for KU Athletics is KUBears.com. But until then, 2 weeks from now, our next edition of the Golden Bear Beat at noon. We usually do it every Thursday at noon, but we'll be off next week. Obviously, I'll be in Florida, and many of you, the listeners, will be home getting some fun time, relaxation, responsible fun time in. But until then, we sign out how we always do. Go Bears, go.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Make sure to stay updated on everything involving Kutztown University Athletics at KUBears.com and tune in for weekly broadcasts every Thursday at noon on KUR.